Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session for a client that wanted to activate the resource state of discipline. And discipline, I would say, is one of the single most important resources to access, because effectively discipline is the ability to do what's necessary even when you don't particularly feel like it. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people have when it comes to discipline is they're hoping to feel discipline in order to utilize the discipline. So if you ask someone why they don't go on a diet or why they don't exercise more, they might say, oh, I'm not disciplined enough, because there's a belief that they need to get the discipline first. In my experience, it actually works the other way around, and that the discipline that you get is the reward for doing difficult things. And as a belief system, that's quite an empowering belief system for two reasons. One is that you're not hanging around waiting for this feeling of discipline. So that fact that you don't have to wait for it empowers you to do the difficult thing. But perceiving discipline as the reward you get for doing the difficult thing also encourages you to do the thing that's difficult to get the payoff, and then it creates momentum. Because when you do a difficult thing, and if you reflect on your own life right now, whenever you've done something really challenging, whenever you've had to work hard to meet a deadline or do something way beyond your comfort zone, it's highly likely that after you did that, you felt a desire to do more things like that. And that's because discipline is the reward that you got for doing that difficult thing. This particular client, when I asked him the question, who do you consider to have this kind of discipline, this kind of resource to do difficult things again and again? It was the actor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who obviously became a politician, famous for bodybuilding, action hero, all these different things, but very disciplined and successful in many different areas. But for him, it was evidence that he must have this resource of discipline because he was able to succeed again and again. And I think that's a valid point. So tapping into the role model of Arnold Schwarzenegger and then using a combination of disassociation and association, it was possible to create a morning ritual, a combination of, in and of themselves, fairly small things that compounded would actually bring about lots of high self-esteem, momentum in terms of fitness and health, but also increasing amounts of discipline at three key moments of the day, first thing in the morning, lunchtime, and evening. And the meals were always linked to the feeling of reward for doing difficult things in addition to the discipline. If you're listening to this, it's probably because you feel that discipline can help you in some way, which is great. Listen to this session. If you feel like you would need or would like something a bit more customized for you, there will be a link in the show notes that you can schedule a free consultation call with me. For now, though, find a comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, bring your focus inwards. Better able to listen to the sound of my voice. And as you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to start to notice any clues, any signs of tension. And sometimes tension is there in the places you don't expect. Sensation in your eyelids, around your eyebrows. Perhaps a tiny muscle in your forehead or in your jaw. So as you breathe in and breathe out, just get a sense that it's okay to release that tension. I want you to imagine a helium balloon. Perhaps imagine a child holding that helium balloon on a string, just seeing it floating there. And as you focus on that balloon, imagine what it would be like to feel your head as light as a helium balloon. And you can almost feel like any tension around your neck and your shoulders isn't necessary because of how light and floaty your head feels. Almost like it's gravitating upwards. Light float, facilitating the ability to just release unnecessary tension. Become aware of things you don't normally notice. The speed of your breathing, how often you swallow, and allow your breathing to slow down even more. Slower than normal, but deeper than normal. As you feel that you're breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation, and any anxiety, stress, tension, any worries or fears are just leaving your body in your outward breath, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. I want you to think back to a time, maybe the first ever time, that you saw a movie featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Maybe it was The Terminator. Or maybe a different action movie, like Platoon or something else. Think back to that very first time and just imagine that you're seeing this big guy with a strange accent, but getting a sense, even back then, that this person would have required discipline, determination, and focus in order to be this type of person. Whether it's lifting weights as a bodybuilder, business ventures, even doing this strange thing of appearing in movies when there's all these reasons not to. I want you to get a sense that in order for him to do what he's done, discipline was necessary. But I want you to accept an idea that is almost flying against convention. Many people are waiting to feel disciplined in order to do the difficult thing. But I want you to look at this big Australian guy there in that movie, even back then as a child, and just think, what if the discipline came from doing the difficult things? Waking up early, doing exercise, learning about different things. What if by doing the difficult thing, that discipline was the reward, not the requirement? I want you to take that thought, take that idea, and perhaps imagine that you're still there watching a movie, but now imagine watching a movie on a cinema screen. At your current age, no longer a child, but I want you to see yourself sleeping on that large screen. But I want you to see yourself with the discipline and motivation of Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. Those qualities in your body, and just see you sleeping. And And then see you waking up, maybe at 7:30. And I want you to notice that you're not checking your phone, you're leaving that perhaps in a drawer or on the side of a table. And almost the very first thing that you do when you get out of that bed is to do some form of activity. And maybe that's something that was difficult for you or undesirable for you. I want you to see yourself doing burpees or press-ups or something physically challenging, but just not too many of them. All this is you're witnessing a statement of intent. You are communicating to yourself that you are in charge. You are the general. You are the boss. You're going to do things whether you feel like doing them or not, and discipline is going to be your reward. I want you to see yourself putting on an audiobook. Not a podcast, not entertainment, but an actual book in audio form. And I want you to see yourself outside if it's sunny, inside if it isn't, doing something physical while simultaneously absorbing the information from that audiobook. See yourself looking determined, disciplined, but also open to new ideas, new information, while simultaneously doing some form of physical activity. And maybe you're seeing yourself with resistance bands, or maybe you're doing physical exercises that use your body, like those press-ups or stretches. Or maybe you see doing certain postures and poses that stretch the tendons and the muscles, increasing flexibility and blood flow. But there you are, on that screen, with the discipline of Schwarzenegger. And there you are, being physical, being active, while simultaneously learning new things. And maybe you see yourself doing that for 20 minutes, but then the pace changes. I want you to see yourself on that screen, doing some form of deep breathing meditation. Maybe there's a posture, maybe legs folded or crossed. Maybe on a mat. Or maybe lying on your back. I want you to see yourself in a particular posture or position conducive to deep, slow breathing. And maybe there's music, or maybe there's some kind of application to help with the breathing ratios, but I want you to see you're having a slow, long, deep breath in. See yourself holding that breath much longer than anyone normally would. And when you breathe out, you're just not breathing out randomly, you're slowly breathing out in a particular ratio. And when there's nothing in your lungs, you're keeping your lungs empty for, again, a certain ratio of time before you take that new long deep breath in. This requires discipline, which is what you're being rewarded with. I want you to see the version of you in control of your life. You decide what you do. See yourself as capable, accomplished, in control and disciplined. And when the meditation comes to an end, I want you to see yourself on that large screen taking a shower, warm or hot at first, but then notice that you're switching the temperature to the coldest setting. But when you do that, that's not reluctantly, that's not with a grimace on your face, that's with the Arnold action hero face, laughing in the face of adversity with the attitude of bring it on. And each time you see yourself doing these difficult things, these challenging things, I want you to see yourself making a unique movement or posture or motion with your body, almost like you're capturing the discipline when you're being rewarded with it. And as you capture the discipline, you can then deploy that discipline whenever you need it. That you're harvesting discipline from doing difficult things. So I want you to imagine seeing yourself in that freezing cold shower, and then I want you to mimic that movement, that posture, that motion. That's it. Do that thing, and perhaps connect it to a voice or a sound inside your inner dialogue that again evokes this idea of discipline. See yourself leaving that shower, that cold shower, looking refreshed, energized, accomplished. It's still the morning and somehow you've won the day. Then perhaps just imagine following you around and see how you interact with maybe your children or your partner, but see yourself that somehow there is a different energy that you're projecting. A man that's in control, disciplined, stoic in some way. See yourself with those qualities, interacting what you're doing. Very easy for you to say no to things if you're being offered carbohydrates for breakfast. Hear the words coming from your mouth, no, not now. Resolute, effortless, a man that is in control. And then perhaps see yourself doing some deep, solid work, maybe for an hour and a half. Somehow that exercise that you did in the morning laid a foundation for the day. See, it was easier to get started on that deep work, quicker to access that flow state, and see the posture, the breathing, the facial expressions of a man doing deep, useful, meaningful work. And then see him finish that work. And then perhaps you can see, maybe there's a clock nearby that is about 11 o'clock in the morning, and see that version of yourself rewarding yourself with a protein-rich breakfast, later than it would normally be, but see yourself really enjoying that because you're seeing a version of you that feels like you've earned it. And in earning that dopamine feels like you're preparing and reinforcing this disciplined, determined, deliberate version of you. See yourself carrying on with the day, but again, that echo of discipline is still there in your posture and your breathing and your facial expressions. And then see it's approaching lunchtime. Maybe just before 2 p.m, but before that, I want you to see yourself doing something useful for you, maybe reading, maybe journaling, maybe seeing yourself walking or doing something other physically in nature. And then when you finish, I want you to observe yourself eating a healthy, nutritious lunch. Not a very big portion, but enough to sustain you and give you the nutrients that you need. You're observing a version of you in control. Whenever you see yourself going slightly out of your lane, drifting away from this discipline, see yourself making a posture, a motion, a movement that somehow enables you to reset and get back on track. Observe yourself for the rest of the day, but then see. Maybe it's approaching 7 p.m. and I want you to observe a version of you that is clearing the decks for the end of the day, reviewing what you've done, feeling accomplished for what you've achieved, but also figuring out what needs to roll forward, what needs to be planned or scheduled, doing those loose ends, sending that email, adding that thing in the calendar. And when all that's done, see yourself preparing a healthy meal. That making the choice to prepare that healthy, nutritious meal is itself giving you discipline, because you could make easier choices. Take away food, processed food, but see yourself making food with real ingredients, whole foods, nutritious foods. And the reward is not just the satisfaction of the meal, but also the accomplishment of doing something that aligns with who you want to be and how you want to be. And then notice that you look so much more relaxed after that point, feeling accomplished of the day, doing what was necessary, but then really enjoying that downtime all the way till it's time to sleep. Just notice how well you sleep. You're sleeping well because just like it's easier to breathe in when you've breathed out fully, it's easier to have restful, rejuvenating sleep when you've lived fully. And I want you to have observed a version of you that has lived fully. And in doing so, you can sleep fully. Then I want you to shift your perspectives to no longer seeing yourself on the screen, but being in your body. Imagine there's an alarm that wakes you up at 7:30. You switch off the alarm, but you keep your phone where it is. Feel what it would feel like to spring out of bed and do something difficult, maybe 5 burpees or press-ups. Something physical in nature, just a statement of intent, but feel like you're doing that in a first person. And when you've done that difficult thing, make a movement, a posture, some kind of gesture to anchor, to capture that discipline. Maybe start playing an audiobook. Something that is interesting, informative, stimulating for you. And while that's on, feel what it would feel like to do physical activity. Resistance, training your muscles, training your body, stretching your limbs, your ligaments, your tendons. And after you've been doing that for 20 minutes, feel what it would feel like to connect deeply with yourself. Perhaps with 10 minutes of meditation, breathing in slow, deliberate ratios that would enable you to control those things that you don't normally control. Isn't that what discipline is? To do things by choice rather than by habit. To do things whether you feel like you want to do them or not. To fly against convention, to use your force of will and feel where that is in your body. Feel that discipline, that force of will, that drive. Imagine then taking a shower, but imagine your hand on the controls as you turn the temperature all the way down with the inner dialogue of, let's do this, bring it, I'm ready. And yes, it's cold and it's uncomfortable, but that's what gives it its value. Discipline does not come from doing the easy things. It comes from doing the challenging, difficult things that most people wouldn't do. So every time you turn the hot water to cold, you're buying discipline. You're extracting it from the experience. Feel like you're absorbing that, topping up your tank, your fuel tank of discipline, and that your force of will is becoming more forceful. You have the strength to do other things as you make the evaluation. If you can choose to wake up and exercise, if you choose to have that cold shower, if you choose to control your breathing, then what other things can you choose to do? You can't have discipline in one element of your life without it having a ripple effect to multiple areas of your life. Imagine that the way that you communicate to your family is slightly different because you have this sense of being in control of your life, more disciplined, polite, respectful, but a sense of assurance projects from you. And then imagine doing an hour and a half of really deep, intense work that feels fulfilling, motivating. Imagine being wherever you would be to do that work, maybe at a desk or a table, but feel like you're doing important stuff that is meaningful and valuable and fulfilling. And then when it finishes, tell yourself you're going to reward yourself with that delicious protein breakfast. Maybe you see yourself preparing those eggs, but you're in your body. You can smell the eggs, you can taste the eggs as you eat them. Protein rich, giving your body the protein, the fats, the minerals that you need. And then imagine it's coming up to lunchtime, but you do something that stimulates your mind, maybe reading or journaling, or maybe you stimulate your body with a walk or something other. And then feel how good it would feel to have that nutritious lunch, feeling that you've earned it, you deserve it. And then fast forward throughout the day, still in your body, connected with this sense of discipline and determination. No snacking throughout the day, you didn't need it. You can resist temporary feelings of hunger and just pay it forward into making that next meal even more delicious. You get the good feeling from making the good choices, and it feels good to make these good choices throughout the whole day. And sometimes it's a good choice to do something difficult because you get paid in increased discipline and self-esteem, because the definition of self-esteem is the difference between your current self and your ideal self. And if you're living like your ideal self will and would be, then your self-esteem increases. Tap into that wonderful feeling of self-esteem as it comes to the end of the day and you're reviewing your accomplishments, planning your diary for the next few days, grateful for what you've achieved, determined for what you're going to achieve in the future, feeling like you've closed a few loops. You can close that laptop or switch off that computer, feeling that you're in control. And then feel how good it would feel to make a delicious meal, healthy, nutritious, but something enjoyable and rewarding for you. Feel what it would be to prepare that, to eat that, to enjoy that, and get a sense that it feels good to be in control of your life. To notice what you're doing is going to make progress. And wondering, if you can do it for a day, you can do it for 2 days. If you can do it for 2 days, you can do it for a week. If you can do it for a week, you can just live that way. Not because you have to, but because it feels good to live that way. Tap into that feeling and then find yourself back there on that seat in the cinema, and then see yourself 1 year from now, 1 year of building the muscle of discipline. What would you look like? What would you be like? And notice that it is not just a physical change, but other things have changed for the positive also. Humans often underestimate their capability to do important, meaningful, significant things. But what if you were to switch off that voice that says this can't be done? Some of the most successful people in the world wouldn't have done what they did if they listened to what should be done or what other people told them they're capable of doing. They tested it, they didn't guess it, they went out there and they did it until they did it. And I want you to feel you are unlocking all of those resources within you, integrating with the present and the future, eager to acquire more discipline in your life through doing the difficult things, knowing that that will benefit you physically, intellectually, emotionally, and probably in many other ways as well. And I want you to tap into that feeling and then remove yourself from the cinema back into this present moment, listening to my voice. As very soon I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, fully integrated into this moment. That's right. As I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, Open your eyes, open your eyes. 9-10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.